Today is Friday, May 9th, 2025. It's a green day for me, one of my best green days of my career so far, actually, and feel pretty good about that. I'm up 6.33% on the day. That's about $152 worth of winnings. I went uh, 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 on my moves, whatever you want to call it. I used my account for 4 moves today. My last move of the day, I doubled up in the middle of the move, so that used 2 portions of my account in the same trade. My first trade was on SRXH. I made 3 cents per share. It's only an 80-cent stock, and that stock went up. I got in at 82, and it peaked in the 150s on this one single move. It about made me sick watching it happen without me. It was the typical Joe where I get in, as soon as I'm up a few cents, I sell before anything else can happen. If I would have let this thing breathe, it would have been a huge win. It would have been a 15 or 20% win with just a quarter of my account. It really would have been awesome. I gotta start letting my trades breathe. I took that trade around 7:50 a.m. The market opens at 8:30 here, so that was a pre-market trade, and I told myself for the rest of the day, if I get in a move, I need to at least let it breathe one candle, because I have a habit of buying and selling within just a few seconds. Oftentimes the same candle, and I miss a huge portion of moves often. So the other moves I made today, I instilled that in my brain and I stuck to it, and it really worked out well for me. My second trade of the day was on NVNE. I made 14 cents on it, and then I traded that again a few minutes later, and I made a combined average of 20 cents. I got in at 235. I doubled up at 241, and I sold it at 261. And both of those moves happened within 5 or 10 minutes of market open. It happened pretty quick. That was a really good mover on the day. And I'll show you that. I feel really good. It's a Friday. I finally had a solid green day, and I finally let my trades breathe a little bit. It didn't cause me any more stress or anxiety than any other trade ever does. I have to start letting these moves work like this, because this is 5 times what I want to do for a daily goal, and I half expect this to happen when I get in on these dip trades and allow them to work this way. I've set my daily goal around 1%, which is fairly low, but that's trying to ingrain consistency and accuracy. And if I can just snipe these moves for a few cents at a time and do 4 or 5 moves and be green on 3 or 4 or all 5 of them a day, then I should be able to hit that 1 or 1.3% a day. So that's why I have it set so low. But if I can make the right entries on these moves, so often they go, instead of just 4 or 5 cents or 10 cents, and I get 5 or 6 out of a 10-cent move, so often they go 20, 30, 40 cents a swing. And I just click the buttons so fast. As soon as I see green, I just get rid of it before something else happens. I'm trying to curb that habit. This week I've been good about actively trading, at least. I've had some good trades and some bad trades, but at least I've traded every day that I planned on. Yesterday was Thursday. It was a pre-planned, non-trading day. If I had all felt groggy or tired, which I was very much so, that So I put my phone down. I didn't even, I only watched the markets a few minutes yesterday just to see what was going on, but I didn't trade any. And today I freaking nailed it. I feel really good about today. Man, I wish I could do this a lot more consistently. This 6% going 4 for 4 on the day, that's a really good feeling. The one that I'm not crazy about was my very first trade in the pre-market, where I sniped it for 3 cents, and then I watched it go up another 45 cents, and that on an 85-cent stock. Holy cow, that would have been friggin' awesome. I'll show you the moves, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Awesome day. This was my first trade of the day in the pre-market session. I had just gotten home, and this was one of the first charts I looked at because it had just hit the scanners. When I first started looking at it, I think I was here around this candle. It had caught my eyes. It had fresh news just a few minutes before this, and we were already MACD open, and the volume was coming in. I was excited to see what would happen next. We had a good green candle, and then boom, I got in. I got in here at 82 cents, and I got out at 85 cents, all in this candle. And would you look at this friggin' move? Goes all the way to $1.46. I mean, we had 5 or 6 minutes worth of range in the $1.30s area here that I could have held onto this and waited to go. If I would have got in at 85 and got out at $1.35, that would have been one of the best trades I've ever made. Holy smokes, what a move that would have been. And I got in and out so fast on this fresh news already popping up. Thinking about it, at 85 cents, I should have at least expected it to get to $1 before it found any resistance. And it busted straight through $1. There wasn't even a small pullback until the $1.20 area. And that wasn't even a scary pullback at all. And at that point, I would have still been up 35 cents. I probably, if I had the patience to get that far, I would have let it breathe a little while. And then boom, here we go again for another 20 cents to the into profit. This was what made me hold on to trades later on this morning in the market, and it really paid awesome for me. This is one of the bad habits that I've got, and I have to start letting these moves work out. I missed out on so much profit. I made 3 cents worth of profit on this trade that went from my entry to a solid exit point would have been around 50 cents. It was frustrating. I was super happy to be in a green trade, and even at 4 cents at this small of account and the way that I'm trading, the 4 cents is an awesome win. But man, I could have went 10 times that, maybe 15 times that, if I would have just sat down and settled down and let the market show me what it's going to do. This is an awesome trade. I hope I run into this more often, and I hope I have the diligence and patience to let these moves happen organically and just go with the flow here, because holy smokes, this is the type of stuff that would really change the day if I could get good at it. All right, my first trade during open market hours on NVVE came just after the market opened. We had a nice little dip here, started to come back up. MACD started opening up, and I knew I was getting close to a good entry point here. And at this point, this was one of the top volume and top gainers of the morning. A couple good moves upwards. We had a Doge candle here, and I knew the next candle was going to be my in or out. Ended up going green on the candle. I got in this candle in at 203. This candle bumped up. Next candle went up again, and I was doing a really good job of just letting this breathe. I didn't know how high I was going to go. I was kind of hoping around the 224, 225 mark based on the stacking in the level 2. So I got in here, let it breathe a candle, and then we had a good red candle here, and I knew that the move might be kind of dipping down, so I exited here. I got out at 217. I was hoping to make a little better exit. This candle kind of hovered in the 222, 223 range. There where that level 2 was kind of stacked up. But by the time it filled, it was at 17. So I lost a few cents on the trade, but I'm still really happy with my entry and my exit here. I let it breathe a few candle widths, just enough to see where this move was going to go. And that was a great way to open the market and bounce back from my pre-market move. Although that was still a green move, this was where I started initiating my at least one candle hold to see where the move goes. So I'm happy with that. That was a good exit for me. I wouldn't have wanted another red candle. That would have brought me back to about break even, which would have been kind of a waste for me. I'm happy with this exit. So my second and third move, which were my final moves for the day, came just a few minutes later. This was that initial move I got in on. We had a little pullback here. We started going the right way again, but I wanted to wait for a good confirmation candle. I got one here, and boom, I got in. My first entry was at 235, expecting to hit the 250 mark. We had some pretty stacked buyers on the level 2, right around the 250 mark. And another heavy seller in the 240s, which represents this Doge candle here. I was nearly ready to exit here. I knew this next candle was going to be my exit indicator, and would we get an awesome green candle ripped up. So I held entirely through this candle, which was awesome for me. My normal self would have sold halfway through this candle, panic selling, that I wouldn't lose any profit, but I held through this candle. Coming up to a red candle here, what I was hoping for here is a small pullback and then another rip. This candle here hit the 270s mark, so I was hoping we'd settle in the 270s and rip up to 3. Didn't happen, so I was waiting for the next candle as my indicator to hold or get out. We had a good red candle here. I ended up getting out at 261. During this big green candle here, for the first time in my live trading, I added to an existing move. Once we broke the 250 mark, there was heavy sellers at 250 and 252. Once those filtered out, it kind of settled back down in the 240s before it ripped all the way up. I got in with the second part of my trade at 247. So I had 2 portions of my account in this trade now going up, hoping for 3. Like I said, I exited a couple candles later at 261. So that trade I averaged in at 241, and I made an exit at 261. That was an awesome move for me, and man, that made me feel good heading into the weekend. I hope I can continue this type of trading. These were both really solid moves for me. I was nice and patient, waiting for good indicators to get out, and I made really solid entries on both of them for my trading style as well. This was an awesome early morning for me. I didn't get to trade very long, but I'll take it for all it was worth. It was a really good trading session for me. I'm really happy with it.